It began quietly, almost unnoticed, in late 2016. American diplomats stationed in Havana, Cuba, started reporting strange symptoms: headaches, nausea, dizziness, memory loss, a sensation of pressure in their skulls. Some said it felt like they were being hit by invisible waves. At first, the symptoms seemed random, isolated incidents that could be explained away. But soon, the pattern became undeniable. This was the birth of what would come to be known as the Havana Syndrome, a mysterious and controversial phenomenon that has haunted intelligence officers, diplomats, and scientists for nearly a decade. The first cases appeared among U.S. embassy staff and CIA officers working in Cuba after the restoration of diplomatic relations between Washington and Havana. The affected personnel described hearing piercing noises or feeling vibrations at night, often localized to one side of the room or their head. After these strange sensations, they developed severe and lingering health problems. Some even experienced loss of balance and vision problems. Doctors who examined them were puzzled. Their brains showed signs of trauma, similar to those of concussion victims, but there was no evidence of external injury. No blows to the head, no accidents, just invisible damage. The United States quickly suspected foul play. Relations with Cuba were already fragile, and whispers of a new kind of weapon, an unknown energy device, began to circulate. Some believed that a microwave or directed energy weapon was being used to target American personnel, perhaps as part of espionage or harassment tactics. The Cuban government denied any involvement. They called it hysteria, psychological stress, or even a collective delusion. But as more reports surfaced from different parts of the world, the mystery deepened. By 2017, similar incidents were reported among US and Canadian diplomats in China, then in Russia, then in Europe, and even near the White House itself. Intelligence officers complained of sudden pressure in their heads, ringing in their ears, and disorientation so intense that some collapsed. The pattern was too broad to ignore. Was this a global attack, or something else entirely? By 2018, the Havana Syndrome had become an international incident. The United States evacuated many embassy staff from Cuba, reducing diplomatic operations to a skeleton crew. Scientists from across the country were called to investigate. Neurologists, acoustic experts, and intelligence analysts all tried to find answers. Some pointed to microwave radiation as the most likely culprit. The idea was that pulsed microwave beams could damage the brain's tissues without leaving visible marks. This theory gained traction after decades-old Soviet research surfaced, showing that the USSR had experimented with microwave exposure on embassy buildings during the Cold War. The mechanism was chilling. A microwave beam could create what's known as the fray effect, a phenomenon where people perceive sounds inside their heads caused by rapid heating of brain tissue. This could explain the mysterious noises reported by victims. Others proposed ultrasonic weapons, devices emitting high-frequency sound waves that can cause nausea, pain, and confusion. But these explanations had flaws. The symptoms varied too widely, and no physical device was ever recovered. Then there was another possibility: mass psychogenic illness, in which people, under stress, unconsciously manifest real physical symptoms triggered by anxiety and suggestion. Some scientists argued that the stressful environment of diplomatic service, combined with rumors of mysterious attacks, could have amplified a psychosomatic reaction. But victims pushed back hard. Many of them were intelligence officers, trained to maintain composure under pressure. They insisted their suffering was real, and that they had been targeted deliberately. In 2019, a group of neurologists at the University of Pennsylvania examined brain scans from several Havana Syndrome patients. Their findings shocked the medical community. The scans revealed structural differences in the white matter of the brain, patterns distinct from concussion, trauma, or stress-related conditions. Something had physically altered their brains. The question was, what? As the Trump administration ramped up rhetoric against Cuba, the syndrome became a political flashpoint. Some officials accused Havana of conducting or allowing hostile actions on its soil. Others pointed fingers at Russia, citing Moscow's long history of electronic warfare and espionage. The Russian government, of course, denied everything. By 2020, cases had been reported in over a dozen countries. From China and Uzbekistan to Austria and Germany, American diplomats and CIA officers continued to fall ill. Even members of the U.S. National Security Council reported being struck near the White House, just steps from the president's residence. The incidents triggered panic inside U.S. intelligence circles. The CIA began to suspect that someone, somewhere, had developed a portable directed energy weapon capable of causing neurological harm without detection. An internal task force was created to track the phenomenon globally. But as the investigation grew, so did confusion. In 2021, the Biden administration ordered a comprehensive review involving the FBI, CIA, and the National Academies of Sciences. Their report, released later that year, concluded that directed pulsed radio frequency energy was the most plausible explanation for many cases. It stopped short of naming any culprit, but the language was clear. This wasn't mass hysteria, it was technology. Still, skepticism persisted. Some scientists pointed out that the data set was inconsistent, the sample size is small, and no device had ever been found. Others warned that the theory could easily be exploited politically, especially as tensions with Russia and China escalated. Meanwhile, victims continued to suffer. Many were forced to retire due to chronic neurological symptoms, constant dizziness, memory loss, and headaches that never went away. Some said their lives had been permanently destroyed by something invisible and unnamed. By 2022, the CIA released another assessment that seemed to shift tone. After reviewing hundreds of cases, they concluded that the majority could be explained by environmental factors, pre-existing medical conditions, or stress-related illness. However, they acknowledged that about 24 cases remained unexplained. Those, they said, showed evidence consistent with exposure to an unknown energy source. That small number kept the mystery alive. For every official conclusion, there seemed to be a contradiction. Every time someone declared the mystery solved, another unexplained event surfaced. In 2023, a new cluster of cases appeared in Europe, reigniting fears that the phenomenon hadn't gone away. It had simply gone underground. Some researchers began exploring more exotic explanations. Could this be an unintended side effect of electronic surveillance systems? Could directed energy antennas meant for spying or communication accidentally harm people nearby? Or was there indeed a weapon being tested in the shadows of global intelligence warfare? The truth, it seems, lives somewhere in the gray zone, between science, politics, and paranoia. Today, the Havana Syndrome remains one of the most unsettling mysteries of modern geopolitics. More than 100 U.S. officials have been affected across more than 20 countries. The symptoms are real, the damage measurable, yet the cause remains elusive. For some, it's proof that humanity has entered a new era of invisible warfare, one fought not with bullets or bombs, but with frequencies and waves. For others, it's a reminder of how fear, uncertainty, and suggestion can twist the human mind into chaos. What makes the Havana Syndrome so haunting isn't just the suffering it caused, but what it represents. A glimpse into the hidden world of intelligence, technology, and secrecy, where truth is often stranger than fiction. When you strip away the politics and speculation, what remains are people, diplomats, officers, and scientists, whose lives were changed by something they couldn't see, touch, or understand. And maybe that's the most terrifying part of all, because whatever happened in Havana didn't stay there. It followed them, across borders, across continents, across the invisible frequencies that connect our modern world. Whether it was a weapon, a coincidence, or something we still can't comprehend, one thing is certain. The Havana Syndrome has already changed the rules of global intelligence, and perhaps the future of warfare itself.